is Lori Brown, nurse attorney with yournurseattorney.com and empowerednurses.org. And I'm here today with Marc Lopez of the Marc Lopez Law Firm. Welcome, Marc.
Thank you for having me, Lori. And I'm excited to help educate nurses about the scam that's going around. And thank you for bringing that to my attention. And I'm excited about today.
So Marc typically does criminal defense of people who, primarily people who would say they didn't commit a problem, right? Would you say that's fair?
Yeah, I would represent a lot of people that are kind of just mixed up in circumstantial situations, and along with some people that maybe made a mistake, but we're not defined by our mistakes. This is, America.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of people out.
Well, and I'm excited to be here with Marc because Marc is actually helping protect nurses from being scammed from criminals. So it's a little different, and I'm excited he's here to help educate nurses on this big scam that's going on to protect your license and your livelihood. So thanks, Marc. I appreciate you being here.
Always. Thank you for having me.
So what's happening is that nurses are getting this letter, and can you see it on here? And it says this is official notice of suspension. This is fraudulent. So just know up front, this is fraudulent right here. But it looks so official. You can see the watermark in the background, and it's telling you that you are suspended and not allowed to practice nursing. And it has your license number, your address, and it seems extremely legitimate. So, and then the next thing, the attachment that they get is this letter. And this looks really legitimate too. It's the U.S. Department of Justice, the Drug Enforcement Agency, and what they want in this letter is they want you to pay a bond, and the bond will be given back at the end of this investigation. This is all fake. If you give money to this, you are throwing money away. So Marc and I thought we would come here live and to share with you some ways that we know it's a fake and to help protect you. But before I do that, I just want to show you the DEA logo. It looks exactly like the logo that you saw in the letters. So Marc, what are your thoughts on this?
This is pretty sophisticated and pretty outrageous. They are legitimately using the DEA logo. They have created very sophisticated watermarked letterhead. And if you're just, having you get home from work, working with patients all day, and you get this letter, hey, you're suspended unless you pay this money. And this, by all accounts, looks legitimate. And this is the biggest scam, though, I've ever seen. And, will everybody fall for this? No. But if even one person pays the money in the letter, I mean, that's insane. I think they wanted $15,000 for a bond so you can continue working. This is absolutely outrageous.
It is. It's unbelievable. So, let's share a couple reasons why we know that this is a fraud. And the first reason is that the Board of Nursing is not going to ask you for money up front, period. There is such a thing in the law regarding notice and opportunity to be heard. So they just will not do that. What are our rights, Marc? Can you explain that?
Anytime a professional license is in jeopardy, you always have a right to talk with an attorney. And so when I looked through this letter, when you sent it to me, one of the bullet points was, you will not let any third party know about this. Keep this confidential. Right off the bat, without even looking any further, like this makes no sense. Even the amount of money, again, they're never going to charge you to be investigated. It's kind of, if you're in jail, you got to pay money to get out. So that's a whole different matter. But to investigate your license, they're never going to be like, hey, pay any amount of money up front, because that's not how it works. And so those are the telltale signs that I saw. But Lori, I mean, when somebody contacted you, about this and they had this in their hand, what was your immediate thought?
Well, actually, I saw this in an article. This is happening in Idaho. And the thing is that your address as a registered nurse, as well as your license number, is all public record. It's very easy to get. And one of my complaints was that in order to renew your license, your basically it's your social security and the last four numbers of your license, something like that, or vice versa. And anybody can get a copy of that. Not anybody, but it just seems very easy that somebody else can get into your account and renew your license, change your address, steal your identity, that kind of stuff. So this stuff is readily available. And just because you're thinking, oh my gosh, they know my address and they know my license number, this must be official, that's not true.
No, absolutely. And then it's amazing how much stuff is online. So if you know where to look, and we're not talking like hacking a government database, we're talking about in Indiana, there's professional licensing agencies. You literally go to the correct spot, type a person's last name in there, you can see their license number, you can see an address. So, you know, I can see how this would cause some panic when someone opening their mail after a long day at work. And I feel bad for anybody that's gotten one of these. And, you know, it looks official. That's the most troubling part.
Yeah. And so whenever you're under investigation, they have to tell you you have a right to hire an attorney. So this letter doesn't tell you that. And that's one of your most fundamental rights under our Constitution. So, especially for criminal law, you have the right to be represented by an attorney whether or not you have the funds to pay for it, right, Mark? Um,
Absolutely. So, you know, and that's something that's, you know, very precious to our criminal justice system. Everybody is entitled to a defense. So if you truly cannot afford an attorney, the government has to pay for you to have one. And you know, we're gone with the days where you show up to criminal court and you have to defend yourself because you can't afford an attorney. That's not how this works. So, you know, and again, there's no situation where a board is going to be investigating you and possibly take away your license. I'm not going to tell you multiple steps. It's in your best interest to have an attorney. You should have an attorney. You should probably contact an attorney. I mean, anything with repercussions such as losing your property, livelihood, job, it's going to be in there numerous times. Contact an attorney because that such a fundamental notion of fair play that we have as a society in America. You know, you want to make sure you have your best shot to defend yourself, whether against a crime or professional license.
and even though you have a right to an attorney if you're having a criminal matter, you have a right to an attorney with your license matter, but the government will not pay for that, unfortunately, if you can't pay. It's at your own expense. So, because that letter does not say that, then obviously you know that that's a fraud too. Um, and any attorney who practices in the area of professional licensing defense will take one look at this letter and know it's false. But to the public, it looks real, and I think many nurses have been scammed by it. I'm not don't know for sure, but obviously um, the press got a hold of it as well.
You know, one of the most tragic things is they have shown that when professionals get scammed like this, even when they find out they've been scammed, there's a reluctance to go forward with, hey, I got scammed. Because a certain segment of the populace is going to be like, well, you must not be very smart. But, you know, I suspect anybody that got that, even the most smartest person in the world, they would get a letter like that. It's going to cause their heart rate to increase. It's going to cause them to start freaking out a little bit. And, um, you know, they're not sending this letter out because it's fun. Somebody has fallen for this, and they're going to do that until people are educated not to do this. So, you know, Lori made a great point. There's a lot of little red flags in this letter, but it looks so official. That's the most troubling
It
part.
is. It is. But any attorney who does this kind of work will know in a minute that this isn't correct. The government does not ask you to post a bond for a licensing board matter. Now you can have your license emergency suspended if they think you're a clear and immediate danger to the public, but they have to give you reasonable notice. And reasonable notice can't even be the day of the hearing where they try to call you or send you an email or something. That is true, but um, but they should never ask for money to prevent that from happening. So that's another red flag. So what should people do if they feel that they've been a victim of these scams? Any suggestions?
You know, if you're just if you got a letter like this and you don't know what to do, I would reach out to an attorney, even though it says don't contact a third party. Um, at the very minimum, an attorney can reach out and verify that it's a fraud, and I don't suspect that would be very hard. So I mean, reach out. There's no nothing's confidential about government. You know, maybe some informants and whatnot, but you know, going after your license, that's not a you can't tell anybody situation. Reach out to a knowledgeable nurse attorney such as Lori. You're more than welcome to call a criminal defense attorney if you're in Indiana. I'll talk to you too. But you know, don't if you have fallen for this though, I would contact local law enforcement and explain what's going on, and hopefully maybe they could try to do something with you. I know the DEA is probably not too thrilled about people using their logo to perpetuate a fraud. So I mean, I definitely wouldn't want to be these people if they got caught, because this is definitely I mean, this is federal crimes across the board. Using letters to mailing something for fraud, that makes it federal. You impersonating a federal agency, that's federal. So if they catch these folks, they're going to have a lot of problems. And you know, if you get something like this, report it.
Yeah, and you can also report it to the Attorney General's office in your state as well. So, first step is hire an attorney, or even just talk to an attorney. If I took one look at this, I'd say I wouldn't charge you anything. I would just say, no, this isn't real. You're fine. Don't pay it. Talk to the authorities. Talk to the um, the Attorney General's office, Consumer Protection Division.
That's great advice, Lori. AG's office across the country, they have consumer complaint divisions, all at least in Indiana, I know most other states too. They would love to have this kind of information, help people fight back against this, because you know this is undoubtedly fraud, and it's quite scary. They're impersonating government.
So I'll just um, tell you a personal story where I've been scammed. People had taken my email address and my password for my DoorDash and Grubhub accounts. And I would get an email saying, your Chipotle order is almost ready, and it's in the other part of the country. And immediately when I get that, I would call them and say, don't give this to them. That this is not my account. And you know how they have your credit card tied to it. So I could have been feeding a lot of people. So the sad part is that I did call the police office and said, oh, go get them. They're going to go pick up the Chipotle. And they're like, sorry, we can't. We don't know if they're the ones that used your account. They're going to say somebody else just had us pick it up. And they say it's just too hard to prove a crime that way. And I guess there's a lot of people doing this kind of stuff. So just be aware on all fronts.
Oh, that makes me so angry, because that's the type of crime most people are going to be subject to, is these quality of life crimes. It's too hard for the police to investigate. Yeah, because they didn't catch them with their hand in the cookie jar, so they didn't want to spend the time on that. But I've been the victim of fraud. Somebody in England bought like $8,000 of things on my credit card, and my credit card company, they shut it off. They didn't tell me until I was pumping my gas. But luckily lots of credit cards have protections built in, but it's frustrating when police won't get involved with things like that. And
Yeah. So just know, we fall for these scams too, or we're victims just like you, even though, we're part of the legal system. And, but we all have to do our part to stop these scammers. So if you do get these letters, talk to an attorney, even though it says not to, and don't pay it, because you shouldn't have to. So
that's
please share this
outrageous.
video
Like
with every nurse.
$15,000. I mean, that's a lot of money.
Yeah. So please share this video with every nurse, because nurses are the hardest working people in the world. We are the heroes, and it's just a shame that people would take advantage of you like that with your license, which is your most valuable asset. So just protect yourself. And I think more of this is going to come, unfortunately. It's the world's changing.
It's true. It's true. And a lot of scams going around in addition to this too. So
Yeah.
excellent advice, Lori, though. And thank you for having me on the program today.
Well, thanks for being here, Mark, and thanks for helping people stop this scam, because I know you really care about nurses as well, and you want to do your part to help them. So thanks, everybody. And again, please share this video because it's a message that nurses need to hear. And thanks for being here, Mark.
Have a great day, Lori. Thank you.
Thanks.